Okay, let's start that again, shall we? I'm surprised by how well this is going, if I'm honest. I can't say that. Hello everybody, my name is Abbie, I am 22 years old and this is my first ever YouTube video, so welcome. I hope you have a nice big cup of tea or coffee or hot chocolate, and I hope you are snuggled in and ready to get started. I thought it would seem fitting to start off with a bit of background information about myself, who I am, what I do, so that you kind of know what you're getting yourself in for at the beginning of this video. So my name is Abbie, as I've said. I'm 22 years old and I have been applying to drama school for 3 years, so I've done 3 years worth of applications. My first year being when I was 18, when I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. I mean, no wonder I didn't get in, let's be honest. I then had 2 years off because I went to university for a little bit, which is a story for another day if I'm completely honest with you. And then last year I applied, and this year I finally got accepted into one of my dream courses. I am so excited. I'm off in October. And I just thought this would be a really good opportunity to document my journey to drama school. I wanted to start this YouTube channel for quite a long time, but the content that I want to put out is drama school related. I want to put out my tips and tricks for getting into drama school because I think, you know, in 3 years of applying and an even longer time to build up my knowledge, I think I have a lot to share. I have a lot of lessons that I've learnt that hopefully I can save other people having to learn the hard way. But I didn't want to put this content out there not having the results to show that these tips and tricks actually work. They got me into a dream school. I didn't want to start it prematurely, but now I'm finally in a position to get the ball rolling. So for my first video, I'm going to be doing a tips and tricks for drama school auditions, be that online or in person. I have experience with both, unfortunately, thanks to COVID. I think it's important to note that these opinions are completely my own. What I say and what I did might work for me and not you, and that is 100% okay because we are all our own people. But if you only take away one thing from this video, then that is time well spent on my part. My first tip is to start looking for your audition material early. This, I think, is such an important one because a lot of people underestimate how long it takes to find audition material. I know I did in my first year. We are so lucky to be blessed with so many incredible playwrights and artists that are constantly creating new contemporary modern content that the list for contemporary plays is absolutely endless, which can make it very, very daunting when it comes to finding audition pieces. It is so important to read as many plays as you can before you decide on audition pieces, and start it early. You know, I started looking in June for my audition pieces because I knew that in order to find a piece that worked for me, I needed that time to rifle through endless plays that are amazing quality but weren't going to hold an audition piece for me. Which is really important to remember, is that, you know, these monologues need to be right for you. They might be right for somebody else. You might have done an easy route of, oh well, that person's done that monologue so I'll use it, but trust me, I've been there, it doesn't work. You have to find a monologue that suits who you are as a person. Ultimately, that's what the schools want to see. They want to see who you are, not who that other person is that also did that monologue. Tip number 2, once you've picked your material, get it learnt early. This is one of those subjective tips. It worked really well for me, but by learning that material as soon as I picked it, I'd taken off so much of that pressure when it came to actually applying to schools. I didn't have to worry about, I've got 5-6 monologues that I've got to learn and I've got to do my application. I didn't necessarily start working the material and getting it up on his feet, because I think there's a fine line between overworking it and working it just the right amount. But I got it learnt as soon as I could, so that I was in the best position I possibly could be in when it came to sending in my applications. Tip number 3 is to smash out your personal statement ASAP. This one, for me, like, You do not want to be ready to go off to drama school. You do not want to have your material learned, ready to go, and be stressing over your personal statement. Trust me, I've been there. It's not fun. Your personal statement could literally be make or break between you getting a place at drama school and you not. And it's so important to get it right. These schools, they have to know you by your personal statement, and that's, you know, it's hard and it's daunting. Send it to different people. Send it to people that aren't in the arts industry and see how they would respond to it. See if they understand it. See if your passion comes across, because that, for me, is probably the biggest thing with a personal statement, is getting your passion across in a not too cliche way. It's again, you're treading a fine line. So send it to different people, get loads of different opinions on it, get feedback on it, rework it a billion different times until you feel like you are encompassed within this piece of text. I worked a lot on my personal statement. I picked up a lot of different tips and tricks. So if you want a separate video on the personal statement, I'm more than happy to do that. Tip number 4 is to keep organised and on top of your material. Now, I have kind of sub-tips within this one big tip. The first, sub-tip, if you like, being to get yourself a notebook. This one is literally from Kiki K. I mean, you can get one from Tesco's, literally anywhere. Get yourself a notebook and use the same notebook for all of your notes. Any workshops you go to that you think would be useful, write them in this notebook. Any time you work your materials with friends or directors, it makes life so much easier having all of your notes in one place. I've got notes in here from the literal beginning when I was just making notes on plays that I was reading, whether I liked them, if there was a character in there that I enjoyed, if there was a monologue in there that I enjoyed, it all went in here. And then later on, when I was writing down questions to ask in my recall sessions, they all went in here. This was my holy grail for auditions, and I used the same process last year. I had a different notebook, but it just works so well for me. Again, you know, if you want to write your notes up digitally, if that's how you would prefer to do it, then by all means, but keep them all in the same place. It really helps to keep organised. I also got myself one of these. This is a display book. I've had this one for years. It's not special. I'm not sentimental to the display book, but in here is all of my audition material. This was more useful, I would say, last year, because obviously I wanted to take my audition material with me. I wanted to take all my songs with me, my librettos. Whereas this year I obviously didn't have to travel anywhere, so I could just pull up my monologue on the internet if I wanted to work it. But in here, I have all of last year's monologues and last year's songs. I have all of the monologues that I was working this year. All of my notes from them are all on the monologues themselves. Just having it all in one place is so helpful for me, especially you know, when you're actually going to these schools and you're auditioning there. It's really good to have all of your material and have blank copies of all of your monologues in case the panel want to see a blank copy of it. And I found that a display book was the best way to do this, but you know, you could fold it up and put it in your notebook if you wanted to. Adapt these tips so that they work for you. Finally, I kept a diary. This one's quite self-explanatory, you know, I bullet journal personally, and all of my audition dates went in there as soon as I had them, all of my deadlines, and I just worked towards them. This one's quite obvious, I feel, you know. Tip number 5 is to stay focused the day before your audition. This one was one that was highlighted to me this year, particularly because it's so difficult doing everything online and on Zoom. Often we zone out and we forget about our auditions and our recalls, which, you know, is 100% normal. Having a focus the day before an audition or a recall, especially if there's been a long gap between 2 auditions, it really, really helps you to get in the zone and get ready to absolutely kick some ass. Do little things like make a checklist of very, very mundane things, but by ticking them off, you're really going to feel that gratification, you're going to feel productive, and you're going to feel in a really good headspace to absolutely smash your audition the next day. Do your singing lesson. Even if you don't have to sing in the recall or the audition, get a singing lesson in there if you sing. You know, it's good to keep your brain moving. Have an acting workshop. If you can book a workshop with someone the day before, keep those energies and that creative juices running, because trust me, keeping focus the day before changed the game for me this year. I was in the zone, I was ready, and I was constantly improving myself, and I think that came across, I mean, it clearly came across in my auditions because I got accepted into my dream school. Tip number 6, and the last tip, is to have fun in your auditions. And remember, as cliche as it sounds, you are auditioning the school as much as they are auditioning you. It is so important to remember this. All I've got to base deciding what school to go off is off of the communications that I've had with them. I can't go to the school, I can't see what it's like there, I can't talk to students very easily. You really have to audition the school as much as they are auditioning you, and have fun, even if it's on Zoom. You know, forget about where you are, forget about your surroundings, just show them what you can do. You know, you got this far, you put in the work, you applied, you got recalls maybe, who knows. You deserve to do well in this, and remember that. I have many other tips and tricks that I've learnt and picked up through drama school auditions, you know, more specific ones to do with personal statements, actually picking out monologues, how do you pick a good monologue, and working your monologues, how do you work them, especially when you're in a lockdown. It's very difficult. There are many other videos I can do on this. If you'd like to know more, drop a comment. Don't forget to hit the like button, it will definitely help me hit the ground running, and subscribe for more drama school, theatre and lifestyle content that is coming your way. That was so cringe.